I've beaten my third game of 2026, so let's go ahead and talk about Pokemon LeafGreen. After back-to-back journeys and big open-world adventures, Pokemon LeafGreen on the Nintendo Switch released at the perfect time for me. I owned and believe do still own the original Game Boy Advance version, all the way back from 20-something years ago, but I don't think I ever really got that far into it as I did with another Generation 3 game, Pokemon Emerald. Approaching and playing LeafGreen as a full-fledged adult now compared to when I was a child before was an eye-opening experience that told me one thing: holy crap, this game is freaking great. If you're new to Pokemon, Leaf Green and its counterpart Fire Red are the Generation 3 remakes of the Generation 1 originals, Red and Blue. Going back home to Kanto after so long while also not having played as much of the last 2 to 3 generations of Pokemon games was an absolute breath of fresh air. I became the Kanto champion in about 37 hours, which was pretty surprising to me because it certainly didn't feel like it. In terms of difficulty and in comparison to how the general consensus during the present day is that modern Pokemon games have been too easy, Leaf Green felt like a fair challenge. There are a couple of battles here and there that feel like true tests that couldn't be solved without a little grinding. I think Leaf Green actually makes a pretty good entry point for newer fans looking to go back and maybe experience what early Pokemon was like. They're the definitive versions of the Generation 1 games and pretty simplistic, all things considered. Honestly, I'm pretty hard pressed to find things to complain about with Leaf Green. I've loved Pokemon for as long as I can remember, and Leaf Green played a big part in that, so forgive me if I don't have much in the way of more in-depth criticisms. It was a fun, feel-good time that reinvigorated my interest and love in Pokemon, and has made me that much more excited to dive into Pokopia sometime soon. Speaking of which, I have no clue where I'm going to turn to now with my next game. The backlog is always increasing in size, and games that have been installed on my hard drives all call out to me in varying ways. I could go with God of War Sons of Sparta, which I put a couple of hours into at release. There's also the impending release of Crimson Desert, which I'm following closely when it comes to reviews. Literally too many games, too little time. Anyways, those are my short thoughts on Pokemon Leaf Green. It was a refreshing breath of fresh air that came out at the right time and has reignited my passion for one of my favorite series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with the next game.